This is Kalapokri, a beautiful village located in the India-Nepal border, and in fact I'm currently in Nepal and that side is India. And this is the cinematic review of my most favorite gadget in my entire inventory, that is the Sony ZV-E10. Let's continue. Okay, we just had tea and now we are going to the other side. Last day we went there to the Kalapokri lake. Today we are visiting the other side to check out what is there. It is very windy. I hope you can see the flags. It is so cloudy here. I can't even see what is right in front of me. This is probably the edge of this place. Just look at the condition. My camera can't even focus on it. Well, it wasn't really fruitful. It was a short walk from our homestay and the cloud unfortunately is not clearing. So I took some pictures over here but nothing is visible properly. I'm pretty sure there is a beautiful view over here and that is completely covered because of the current cloud that is there, and it is very chilly. So I guess we are returning back again and we also need to have our breakfast. I'm sorry if my speech is getting slurred. It's because of the extreme cold temperatures and the wind. My hands are completely numb. So we finally reached Manebhanjan. It was a very bumpy ride from Kalapokri. So here I could see the entire town of Manebhanjan visible and I took a picture here. And some magnolia flowers were also there. And then the unexpected happened. It started to rain, which was kind of like an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. Advantage because it is going to give you an idea how low light shot is going to look like in the daytime, and disadvantage is, well, I can't get out of the car to take more videos or pictures. Okay, so I'm currently in Chimney and it is raining very heavily outside, so it's not possible to go out and shoot there. I just took some pictures from here inside the car, but yeah, I don't think I can go out right now because it is raining for quite some time. Okay, so I'm currently in Dowhill and this road is the rumored haunted road. According to the locals, it's actually not safe to just roam about here. Even the driver actually warned us not to do that. But unfortunately, the road here is completely damaged. So we had to deboard the car and yeah, he somehow managed to move the car down this difficult part. And now we are going to continue the journey. So we have reached our next stop, that is Hanumanto, and as you can see, there is a Hanumanto, and fortunately the rain has stopped right now, so I could get out of the car and take some pictures. The road actually looks very beautiful here, and there are the tea plantations. The entirety of the Kurseong city is visible from here. Currently it's very foggy and cloudy, so it isn't visible completely, but still I'll try to take some pictures from here. And then after a long drive, we are back in the plains again. I did a few more testing for the inbuilt stabilization options that you get in the camera. This is currently being shot with optical steady turned on. That is a feature of the lens or the kit lens that is provided with the camera, and here I have used active image stabilization, which is the electronic image stabilization in the camera. There's no IBIS or anything like that available, so it crops in quite a bit in this mode. And finally, with no stabilizations turned on, so you can see how much of jerk the actual footage has. When we reached NJP station, it was already dark, which marked the end of our trip, and hence the end of this video. But there's a surprise.
Well, the surprise is it's not over. And right now I'm in Puri, which is completely opposite to that of a mountain, that is a beach side. And I found out that I've not covered a lot of the stuff in my previous video
About the review in ZV-E10. So I thought of covering them in this one because first of all, the inbuilt stabilizations were not covered properly, so I had to cover them. And also, I think the camera
is massively underpowered because of the type of lens that you get with this camera. That is the kit lens, which is a Sony 16 to 50mm lens. Because of the not very low f-stop, you don't get the best low light performance. So I have my 50mm f1.8. I'm going to use that lens also, and I'm going to show you some pretty nice low light photography and videography taken on this camera on a 50mm lens at f1.8. Okay, currently again this will become another kind of an audio test in the seaside because there's a lot of wind. It's not as windy as it got in Sandakphu, but obviously it's windy right now, and it gets a fair understanding how the voice is captured through the inbuilt microphone. Also, you might have noticed I shot the previous video in 1080 pixels, and that is because in 4K the camera crops a little bit of the video, so it looks a bit more less. It shows a bit less of the background, and I was actually considering to buy an 11mm lens for this, but it's actually very costly as of now for me. So I thought maybe I'll buy something cheaper. I got myself the DJI Pocket 2, so if this camera review goes well, I'll also review that one if it is relevant in 2024, the DJI Pocket 2. I also forgot to bring my stick, so it's hurting my hand a lot. This is another problem that I face with this camera. I have to stretch out my hand a considerable amount in order to get most of the shot in frame, and it pains. So if I keep it at a comfortable position, that is this, it shows a lot of my face and less of the background. So shooting in 1080 pixel is probably good for this lens, but if you want to show more of the background, you have to shoot in much wider lens, for example like the 11mm or something like that. I'm also using an ND filter which I bought recently, so a bit of change you will be noticing. And even the previous footage and also this one is using the optical steady shot. It is turned on, OSS is turned on, so OIS is getting used, which is the optical image stabilization, and there are some micro jitters. Oh my god, my hand is spinning a lot. Okay, you need to get one of those sticks in order to hold the camera, else my hand pains a lot. I forgot to bring it today. This is all manual at ISO 4000, and the shutter speed is 1/60 like I mentioned, and f3.5. So it's better to get some prime lens with a much lesser f-stop. Okay, let's wait for the light to get even darker. I'll show you some night shot. I have all the lenses in my bag. I also have the TT Artisan's 25mm f2, and I'll see if possible I'll also test that with this camera.
The darker it gets, the noisier the footage becomes. With high ISOs, and it comes to a point when the videos become very soft. I had the 50mm f1.8 which came to the rescue, and I took this beautiful shot of the Arathi. Unfortunately, it's all in FHD and not in 4K, so it's zoomed digitally in this video, while its original size is this. This was also the ideal opportunity to test the S&Q mode, and it looks so beautiful. And you can't use the S&Q mode with 4K, only FHD is supported, but the results are really crisp. The sea wind is loaded with salty moisture which covered the surface of my UV filter, and progressively the shots got softer because of that. You can also digitally zoom in the camera up to 2x in FHD while recording and 1.5x in 4K when using a prime lens, and the results look pretty sharp. It's like a 100mm lens. Look how sharp it is, although much of the bloom is due to the salt water coating that the filter acquired. Rest be assured, this camera takes beautiful videos and pictures in low light too, thanks to the large APS-C sensor and of course a lens with a wide aperture to use that large sensor. To be honest, it's a phenomenal choice. It's a beautiful camera. I love it. Even if you shoot with the kit lens, if you're switching from your smartphone, there will be a massive difference in the image quality output. You can't complain about that. But later, you will soon be wanting something with a lesser f-stop so that it will shoot in darker and also gets nice background blur. OSS or optical image stabilization works great in low light, especially with easy lights where you're forced to set the shutter speed at 1/50, else there's flickering like in the slow motion shots where because of the FPS you can't have a shutter speed slower than 1/125. OSS doesn't give you super smooth footage, but at the same time it helps eliminate micro jitters, especially with normal and telephoto lenses. It's super helpful there in both natural and artificial easy lights. Active stabilization crops in quite a bit, as you know, but the footage is more stable in this case. I don't really like how it jerks from time to time, but it isn't ideal with slow shutter speed. You get this very cheap looking effect, which I generally try to avoid. Just to exaggerate and show you, this is the effect I'm talking about. The same goes for the stabilization over catalyst browse. Sure, it gives you more control than active steady shot, but the same problem persists. Make sure you have a fast shutter speed, especially when you think of using any of these two stabilization options. So finally I have returned from the trip, and I think I've provided a lot of footages already showing you how 4K and 1080 pixels video or full HD video looks in the camera. But there are some other things that I need to talk about. That is the battery, and this part really disappoints me in the camera. It doesn't matter if you shoot in full HD or 4K, the battery just doesn't perform well. It just runs out, and it's expected because if you see in the battery, if I open the battery, they have actually provided you with a 1020 mAh battery. I don't know if it is focusing on this. Yeah. If you want to buy new batteries from Sony, of course they are really costly. What you can do, what I do personally, is I got myself this small power bank. So I just connect this and put it inside the front part of the Sony bag that they have provided. So it just goes in over here like this. It is a 10,000 mAh battery, so or power bank, so it lasts for quite some time, and it charges my camera almost 10 times over. So I just put it here, chain, I pull the chain, and this part remains outside, which I very conveniently connect to my camera whenever I'm not shooting. So I don't let the battery go below 70 or 80%. So I just keep charging all the time, almost all the time. Else you can't really use it in one go. You have to get a new battery, and getting batteries from Sony, I saw the price, they were around 4,000 rupees. It doesn't make sense. I think this is a much cheaper and better option. If you shoot in 16 Mbps, then the camera performs well with the battery. The discharging is slower, and what I noticed is it is more about the bit rate and not the resolution. So higher bit rates lead to more amount of battery usage. Well, next is the display. The display is pretty good. It is of high quality. I don't have any complaints. You can see the pictures clearly. It's of course a small one for the camera, but the brightness is also quite usable. When you use in very bright sunlight, there is a dedicated mode. I don't know if you can see, known as the sunny weather. Try to focus and show you. So as you can see, there is this separate sunny weather mode, which you can definitely use when the weather is very sunny. But the only downside is it makes the images look more contrasty. And sometimes I think, why is this shot looking so weird? And when I take that same footage in my laptop or my phone, whatever, it looks fine. So whenever you shoot in bright light and use that mode, always remember this is one of the downsides you have to face. Personally, I avoid this mode. I manually turn up the brightness to +2, but the sunny weather mode makes it brighter. I only use this mode when it is very necessary, when the sunlight is so bright that you can't see anything. That is when this mode comes to the rescue, because at least you can see what you're shooting, else it becomes very difficult to shoot. Okay, about the ports, I don't know if this is a port or not that you get on the top part. It's actually not a port, but it's for attaching accessories. It's the shoe mount, and as of now I have this dead cat, which is provided by Sony themselves, attached to the upper part. Anyway, let's leave it. You can also attach professional microphones and more. I often use my Sennheiser MK600. It's attached on the top part, and I just shoot like this. So the audio quality is much better because you get this option to connect external microphones here. There's this port for connecting external mics, and you have these three. The first one over here is connect for the USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. Next you have this, which is the micro HDMI cable for connecting to larger displays, and finally the one for connecting this, that is the headphone for checking the audio levels and more. So that is also there. There are a lot of customizable buttons they have provided. They are already configured separately. For example, C1 turns on and off bokeh mode. It's for people who have less technical experience. I guess it will be important for them. I personally have repurposed them separately. For example, I can change the focusing speed by pressing this button now. I've configured it accordingly. Other buttons are there. I can switch between manual focus or autofocus using some of the buttons over here. So you can manually configure them according to your liking. Okay, so that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Do like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Also, do comment down below what you feel about this review. It's made in a bit of a different style, so it's vlog style review, of course, because I reviewed this camera. Previously, I reviewed the Osmo Action 4, and it was done in the general style, the way I do, but this one I have taken the camera for trips and made the video using that. And also, if you see my other videos on this channel, they are all shot with this camera using mostly the 50mm f1.8 lens, that too from Sony. So you can also go and check out other videos from this channel to see the lens quality, but I think I've provided a lot of footages already. Anyway, take care, and we will meet again in the next video.